Good morning. As most of you know, my name is Yvonne Sewell, and I am involved with a friend of mine who has been working on the death, fraud, abuse, and criminal activity against her mother for 13 years. The woman's name is Barbara Hodge, and I'm just going to read what I was sent by her daughter. This happened down in Coral Gables, Florida, which is south of me. And the sad part is, my friend cannot find closure on this chapter of her life until she finds out A, what happened to her mother, and B, where her mother's remains are. The woman who perpetrated this crime against her mother is very involved in politics down in South Florida. She's very involved with the current state attorney down there. She has a record. She is a known felon, and she keeps getting away with this type of behavior. Nobody wants to touch her. We want to know why. So let me just read to you what my friend Summer sent me. In 2010, Barbara Hodge, a self-made millionaire, was experiencing the onset of dementia when she answered a handyman ad on Craigslist looking for someone to change the light bulb in her recessed ceilings. This so-called handyman had brought along his wife, one Julia Barrett, a 10-time convicted felon. I have her criminal history. I know what she did. 2 weeks later, a fraudulent, all-inclusive power of attorney for Barbara was filed by Julia Barrett with Lee County, Florida. Despite evidence that this career criminal had, in fact, done this before to a World War II veteran in Carmel, New York previously, all law enforcement agencies claimed that this was a civil matter. I have that record where she did this to this World War II veteran. Even though these people had criminal records in the same county Barbara resided in, and Julia had been arrested for 10 counts of fraud and embezzlement by their own police department, Cape Coral PD, the police still took Julia Barrett's word over our family. Barbara's daughter June has relentlessly continued to fight and inquire where Barbara was to this day, feeling desperate, wondering why no one has helped or listened. After filing the fake POA, these people took Barbara and all of her belongings from sunny Florida to the criminal's home state of New York in the dead of winter. What does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? They used her declining mental state to confuse her into thinking her entire family, except for them, were trying to steal from her when they actually were the perpetrators. It was a classic sweetheart swindle. Anything Barbara experienced in her life, Julia would say she experienced the same. In other words, Julia mirrored Barbara's experiences. Julia would tell her own family that Barbara was indigent and had been abandoned by her family, which was a lie. Julia would boast that she was paying for everything, which was another lie. Julia's daughter reports that she often complained about having to take Barbara to do simple tasks like go to the store and buy properly fitting shoes. Julia quickly grew tired of taking Barbara out of the house, and after a repeat surgery on Barbara's foot, which she promised herself she would never do again, Julia Barrett and her husband Joseph kept Barbara bedridden in the basement with no phone, often lacking nutritious food, medication, and the necessities required to live. Over the next few years, Barbara would be hospitalized for multiple injuries, alignments, and surgeries, while Julia and Joseph simultaneously drained all of Barbara's multi-million-dollar estate. And ladies and gentlemen, I have dealt with CPS for years in Georgia, and they're real quick to go after parents of children that allegedly mistreat their children. and doctors are real quick to report suspected abuse on children, but no doctor that we know of reported this alleged abuse on this elderly woman. No doctor. And she kept going repeatedly for the same injuries. At one point, a $250,000 property was purchased for cash in Barbara's name, and a new deed for that property was recorded in Julia Barrett's name for $1. In other words, she quitclaimed that deed for $1 to her name. And that was on the very same day the property was bought. Barbara passed away in August of 2014. But not even 2 weeks after filing a fraudulent will claiming that all Barbara's money was gone, Julia Barrett bought herself, are y'all ready for this? A $100,000 Audi A8 Quattro and took her family on a luxurious Christmas vacation to Trump Towers. Julia paid for weight loss surgery for herself, snowmobiles, helicopter rides, other luxurious vehicles, and more, all for money that she had no right to access. As if the theft of our beloved family member and her entire estate wasn't enough, on her deathbed and after her passing, Julia continued to fraudulently file for credit cards and run up various utility bills in Barbara's name. Furthermore, Julia even wrote a bad check on a closed account for Barbara Hodge's cremation. To this day, we still have no idea where her remains are. All this time that could have been shared with our mother and grandmother was stolen from us. Who knows how long she would have lived if she had been surrounded by her family with love and care, rather than the abuse she suffered at the hands of Julia and Joseph Bartlett. Where are Julia and Joseph Bartlett now? They are living amongst us, recently having moved back to Cape Coral, no doubt waiting to strike and prey upon some other vulnerable elderly citizens, still not being held accountable for their long list of crimes that can be proven and could have been prevented, crimes that we have evidence for. And I also have copies of those crimes. Whose family member will be her next victim? When will enough finally be enough? Justice for Barbara. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my question to you is, if this was your parent, would you stand by while this was happening? Would you sit by and when LEO says, oh, this is a civil matter, we can't do anything, knowing that this woman has a criminal history in New York, knowing she is a 10-time convicted felon, knowing she has committed fraud on the elderly, knowing that a death was perpetrated by her on a World War II vet, would you sit by? Would you allow your grandmother to be treated in this manner? My friend cannot get closure on this chapter of her life until these people are brought to justice. It is imperative that we get this out, that LEO and the state attorney's office down south understand that this is wrong. It's morally wrong, it's criminally wrong, it's ethically wrong. And all we keep hearing is we can't do anything. No, the fact of the matter is they will not. Julia Barrett is embedded with the political party down there. She is friends with the current state attorney. Is there collusion? Not making accusations. I have nothing to confirm it. But when they won't even investigate this crime, they keep saying it is statutes of limitations has run out. Well, had they done this way back when they were supposed to, statutes of limitations would not have run out. The statutes of limitations on murder do not run out. So I ask you to share this live video. I ask you to go onto the podcast on my YouTube channel, share the video that my friend did, and to get the word out that this is not acceptable. Thank you.